When we think about returns, we often think about money or how much I'm getting in return for my investment. What's my ROI or return on investment? However, there are three other returns that you really need to be looking at to determine if the path you're on or the investments you're making are really right for you or if they can be better allocated in other places. In today's video, we're going to be discussing three often overlooked returns, but very essential, which is the return on the hassle you're taking on, the return on your time, and the return on the stress level. So first, let's dive into what is the return on hassle. So there are some investments or things that we do that are just kind of pain in the butt. They're a hassle to manage, but we do them because we think this is the way we need to invest or do things in order to get ahead in life. So a common one I see is when you're dealing with rental properties. So a lot of people will pick up rental properties because they heard real estate's a great investment. Maybe they inherited homes, whatever the case may be. They have these rental homes. They also produce rental income. Everyone likes income. Passive income from rental property is good, so we have those. But what a lot of people will soon find out when they first get into the rental game is it can be quite a bit of hassle, especially if you're doing everything yourself. So if you have a rental house, and especially when you're managing it 100% on your own, there's a lot you have to think about. Not only do you have to pay for the mortgage each month, hopefully, and deal with contracts, try to keep the place rented out, making sure people pay on time, no one's squatting in your house, nothing's getting damaged, going there to fix things or upgrade things so it can maintain a livable place for people. You still got to pay your property taxes, you got to pay insurance on it. So there's a lot of hassle that can go into it. Now you can outsource some of this. You get a property management company to come and do a lot of this for you. But again, you're still having to talk with them directly. They're going to call you to get things approved. Like, hey, do you want this fixed or what should we do with this? So at the end of the day, you're still the one making decisions. Even though they're going to do the work for you, you're the decision maker. Unless you like having to get calls at random times of the day on your lunch break and stuff to make these decisions that you really don't care about or don't want to think about the time because you have too much going on with life or work and such, it just creates a big hassle. So in my experience, a lot of the clients that I've had for the last 10 years have actually downsized rental properties. While they enjoying the rental income from it, they realized that it really wasn't something they really wanted to do anymore, and they rather offload that onto somebody else, take the profits that they had, invest it into the market, and enjoy much more passive and less hassle income that they can generate from the market. This also comes in place if you're trying to do your own investment management, particularly in retirement. While working, it's not too big of a deal, but retirement is when it can get a little convoluted. When you start having to take money out of things, if you're doing your own tax return filings, and you're trying to figure out what to file, did I miss a return from this, or I forgot about this different from that? Again, it can be a real big hassle trying to do everything on your own. Figuring out what paperwork to fill out, is the paperwork still valid? Do I need to change this? Oh, I forgot to update this beneficiary on this account over here. So it can be confusing to do it all. So ultimately, return on the hassle is something you need to decide to see if this is the route you want to go on. And if it's too much hassle for you, then don't do it. Just because you see ads or hear people that do well in real estate doesn't mean you have to take on that hassle or the burden and dive into it. There's other avenues that could be better suited for you and your lifestyle. So always assess the return on hassle on things before diving in or saying no or yes to an opportunity. Now, the second return you need to consider is the return on your stress. Each day as we go about our lives, there's certain stressors that we encounter. Now, sometimes the stressors aren't worth it and can actually diminish your health. So we need to determine, is the return on our investment really worth the stress? So for example, if you're someone that got a promotion at work and now you're making more money, that's great. But usually promotions, more money, more responsibilities comes with higher levels of stress. If you have to make deadlines, work longer hours, it can really eat into your personal life and kind of lead to a decline in your willingness to do that job and just overall well-being. So you need to determine, is that increase in pay really worth the stress, the added hours, and such? So you see, it's not always our money we have to look at when we evaluate returns on things. It's things like units of our time, which is the most precious resource in the world. Is, are we allocating our time correctly? Are we investing our time wisely to get the type of return we want? So you need to start evaluating your own stress levels to determine if you're in the right spot or if things need to change. If work is getting too stressed out, don't like the way admin is going, you want to either change careers, move to a different position, or just flat out retire, and the stress levels are getting too high, this can be a good indicator of a time for a change. Don't stay in something doing it what you're currently doing if it's causing you more harm than good. It's time to start looking deeper and seeing if you could better utilize your time. Now, on a more personal note, the past few years, I was doing some crypto day trading, swing trading, different types of different strategies. But it did lead to higher stress levels. When you're picking different types of coins or investments, you have that sense of, I might lose it kind of thing. You're always checking the markets. It's always in the back of your head, causing stresses. So you find yourself checking, oh no, I'm down 5%, I'm down 10%, I'm up 5%. And it just keeps swinging, can really weigh on you. And that led to elevated stress levels, and I just wasn't really enjoying it as much. Some months I did okay, some not so much. Ultimately, I just stopped doing it because at the end of the time, I wasn't making that much money off of it. It wasn't worth the time, the hassle, or the stress, so I stopped doing it. So even though it was profitable, I didn't mind doing it too much. It just got too much from a stress standpoint, and I decided to allocate my time into different investment strategies or into different parts of my business and work on building up the income streams from those avenues instead. So evaluating stress is something that we all need to do to make sure we're putting our time, energy, and resources in the right areas. Now, the third, and in my opinion, the most important thing everyone needs to evaluate is the return on their time. I said it earlier, but I'll say it again. Time is the only thing that we can't create more of. Once it's gone, it's gone. So it's really important that we evaluate how we spend our time and determine if we need to spend it elsewhere. Certain examples of this that you need to start evaluating when it comes to like DIY investors like myself, for example, if I'm putting too much time, effort into something, I'm not really enjoying it, or it's just not getting the return I want, maybe it's time I should reallocate that time somewhere else. If I had a part-time job on weekends, so if I worked a full week, went to my part-time gig, made a little bit of money, but at the end of the day, I had used up my entire weekend and I had very little profits to show for it, maybe that wasn't the best use of my time. Yes, I'm profitable, it helped with the bills a bit, but if I could use that time to either educate myself to earn a higher paying salary, a different job, maybe build a different type of side hustle that I enjoy more or earn more money, that would be a better use of time than it is just going about through the motions and scrimping by with less and less time left at the end of the day. That'd be a better use of time than just going through the motions and wasting your time away. Now, I see this all the time working with some retirees and new retirees who are so focused on cutting costs or doing everything themselves that they don't realize how much time and energy they're putting into it or it's sucking from them. So for example, this past week, I had a client who was developing doing certain tax strategies. But in order to do it, he had to move the money out of Plan 3. And he was really hesitant to do that because it was easy for him. He's familiar with it. His family had money in Tier 3, never left it, and they seemed to do okay. So he thought he'd be okay just leaving it there. He was really against hiring an advisor, paying a bunch of money to manage it because he was fully capable of doing it on his own. And while I'm sure it could be, was it really worth the time for him to do it? Or could he use that time, spending more of his retirement time with his wife, with his kids, doing things he really likes? Is it worth that much more to you to go through it and potentially mess something up and ruin your life savings or retirement strategies? So sometimes your time is worth more than the cost to hire someone. Case in point, I got involved in crypto a few years back, and while I could have went through different YouTube rabbit holes, read to courses and stuff, I fast-tracked it and I shortcut the time investment to get more up to speed on things faster. So I actually took a certification course to familiarize myself with it, ultimately to put myself in a position to help clients with crypto investments in the future because it isn't going anywhere. I've also hired multiple coaches and took different courses to speed up my development. Most recently, I hired a crypto coach to take my passive income earnings I've been doing in crypto from $1,000 a month, and now we're over $3,000 in just the first month. So just a little tweaks that he recommended that really saw a jump in the passive income that we got from those investments. To get there, I could have just took my time with it. I could have done more YouTubes. I could have done more testing on my own, but I decided to pay this professional thousands of dollars each month to short track it. If I can just jump on the phone with him for 1 hour a week, he gives me everything I need to know, analyze the portfolio, make our changes. That saves me so much time. It's worth every single penny. And I've already tripled the investment that I put into it. In other words, I understood the time commitment it would take to get me to where I wanted to be, and I shortcut that by paying the professional and getting me to move up. So if time is something that's really important to you, and you understand that it's not something you really want to be spending your time on, you could give it to someone else that would do a better job of it than you, then it's okay to make that type of investment. It may seem steep, but your time is the most precious thing. And if it's going to shortcut all that and give you your time back, it'd be worth every single penny. Now, every year I put out an annual survey. And 2 questions I always like to ask on the survey is how many hours per month are you spending educating yourself on finances? And how confident are you in managing your own retirement? And the numbers are always pretty consistent. About half of our respondents say that they are very confident or are experts and have total confidence in knowing everything that you know to get through retirement on their own. But when you flip to how much time are you spending each month educating yourself on strategies, about half of them spend less than 5 hours per month. It's only about an hour a week that you're actually spending on educating themselves. And I'm sorry, but there's just too much information out there for you to get everything you need to know in an hour a week. Another interesting statistic that came from the surveys is about 5% of respondents said they spend north of 20 hours per month in educating themselves on financial strategies. Now, when I look at that, I'm like, is that a really good use of your time? 20 hours per month is the equivalent of another part-time job. And are you getting the sufficient rate of return from that type of investment? Is that worth your time? In many cases, I argue it's probably not. For most people that consume content in general, it goes in one ear and out the other. They forget about it. They know it for a week or two and then it's gone. If you don't use it, you lose it. So for those people that are really heavy into putting all your time and energy into educating yourself, well, that's great. Unless you're using all the information, it's probably not being put to your fullest potential. You may be better off outsourcing it to hiring some type of professional to help shortcut that learning curve. If they can cut down your consumption from 20 hours to 10, and you got 10 hours back every single month, it'd be well worth the investment. Just like I said earlier when I hired the coach, I could have went and spent 5 hours a week educating myself on the different crypto strategies, researching pools and investments, looking at chart patterns and technical analysis on them. But if I can pay someone to meet with me for 1 hour a week and he does it all for me, it saves me so much time. It was worth every single penny. So when it comes time to evaluating people to hire, whether that be like something like a contractor, if you're hiring someone to clean your home, cook for you, or if you're hiring an advisor who manages your finances, you're not just paying them for their experience or their services. You're paying them because it cuts down on the hassle you have to encounter, the stress you have to endure, and it saves you time overall. And oftentimes those are things that would offset the financial rate of return or the money saved had you not have done that. So by considering the return on your hassle, the return on your stress, and the return on your time, you can make choices that don't just grow your wealth, but also your quality of life. If you want to dive deeper into more financial topics, I have a new community on School. You can join us for free. The link is in the description below. That's where I have all of my retirement courses posted. And before I sign off, let me know in the comments which of these 3 returns matter the most to you. And until next time, remember that your future depends on what you do today.